What's going on, guys? Long time no see. Hope everybody's living the dream, having a great day, having a great week. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. If it's you and your wife's anniversary, whatever, man. Celebrate yourself, celebrate your life. You know what I mean? And ride your bike. But I wanted to come to you guys today. I figured I've had this bike now for a little over. There you go. That's all right, man. I like that. Look, ride whatever you got, man. That's one thing I want to say. I want to start this video off by saying, look, man, ride whatever you got. You don't have to ride fancy stuff. You don't have to ride something that costs $10,000 or more. I mean, there's no need for that, ladies and gentlemen. You know, like when I started riding gravel roads, stuff like that, I had a rally, a CRF 250 rally. And I was perfectly content with that up until I needed to do 65 up a hill. Outside of that, it was perfect, man. You know what I mean? Really. But anyway, let's talk about the KTM, man. So after living with the KTM for about a year, I've had a lot of success with it, and I got nothing negative really to say. Let's do a walk around. So this is kind of an impromptu year review. Man, it's been an awesome bike. I do not regret getting rid of trading my Africa Twin for this. This has definitely suited my needs. And for me, light is right, guys, you know. And this is coming from someone who also owns a BMW 1250 GS Adventure. You know, an almost 600-pound bike that is known to be able to go and do almost anything. But I'd rather ride this most of the time, if I'm honest with you. But let's start off. I did replace the headlight. That is something that I got off. It was an Amazon special. I think it was like $55. I previously had a different windscreen. I'll link in the description. I got it from Takomoto Co. But then I saw this Adventure Spec mini fairing, and I knew that I wanted to be able to mount my GPS a little bit slicker, a little bit cleaner, and give me more adjustability. Let's see here. I did take these OEM hand guards. There were hand guards that didn't connect, you know, but all I did was I just was at home and I kind of eyeballed it and drilled 2 holes and then mounted it to my existing handlebar mount. So got the Cherbys 3.9 gallon tank. Now, for those of you who have ridden with me, it's been a couple times I've ran out of gas, but honestly, it's mainly due to me being lazy and not filling it full of gas whenever we start some of these rides, and me just thinking it gets better fuel economy than it does when I'm really getting on throttle. So what I don't have with me today is I usually rock my Moscow Moto 80 liter setup. I've been running Tuss D Sport tires since the entire life of the bike. Great quality for the price. I feel like you really can't go wrong, man. I know there's other folks on YouTube that have said some of the same things, and I think I 100% agree with them. I did install a factory KTM skid plate, plastic skid plate, because I want to say from Dirt Bike Test, I think his name's, was it Jerry? Anyway, I like that guy. You guys should watch his Taco Tuesday podcast, because you can really learn a whole lot. I know I've learned a few things from him myself personally. Let's see here. Man, I haven't had anything wrong with the bike. I did install the Tuss rack, but I believe on my initial review, what I talked about, I had that added. I think since then, I think I had the mirrors, really the mini fairing, man, and just all the trips that I've taken. I mean, for those of you that have followed me for a while, you know this bike is, I mean, I've ridden everywhere on this bike. From South Dakota, parts of Wyoming, you know, all the way to California on the 405 freeway. You know, I mean, this bike has never let me down, man. This is what I did. I'm going to show you what I did for the fuel adapter, because I didn't want to buy an extra part. So I just trimmed it up, turned it, and I was a little nervous at first, but that's worked out perfectly. So I know Takamoto sells the adapter for that, but I was like, look, I've already spent money on the tank, and I also spent money on this lockable gas cap, thanks to a subscriber who recommended that to me very early on. But yeah, I've got no complaints about the bike. Now I will say this: I said I have no complaints. I think I just had to get used to it. I rode on a CRF 250L Rally. That's a street bike engine in those smaller CC Hondas. Okay, so it's very smooth. This is not smooth. Okay, this takes some getting used to. And looking up in the forums, someone just asked recently, I want to say, but looking up in the forums, so you got some people ask, is the vibration a problem? And I'll be honest with you, I think if you're used to riding dirt bikes, things that may not have a counterbalancer in it, or has been more refined to try to get rid of some of that vibration, I think if you hadn't ridden things like that, then you probably would think it vibrates a lot. But I will say this: after buying the seat and truly just getting used to it, I think riding this was my only bike for a couple of months, and I think within a matter of months, boom, I didn't notice anything. I didn't notice any vibration, and I can do a couple of 100 miles easy on this bike, whether it be gravel roads, some kind of steepish hill climb, because I imagine right now I'm probably at 4,000 feet, and I started off this morning at like 1,000 feet or something like that, maybe less. Heck, I mean, you see that lake down there. I mean, I was by the lake and I came up, so it's really, and I've got no problem with it now. But I did get the seat concept seat, tall. Just so you guys know, I'm 6'2". I was 300 pounds. Okay, I was 330 really riding this. I've since lost 80 pounds. So I haven't ridden here in a few months just because due to some health stuff. But I'm trying to, I guess, relearn the bike and with my new weight and everything. But yeah, let's touch on this again. Trusty sport tires, a win. I didn't change any gearing. I've been able to keep up with DR 650s, Honda 650L. I mean, every dual sport under the sun, mine is maybe like a Husky or KTM 690, but I've went on many rides with big adventure bikes to bikes just like this. And granted, I know it's not meant to be a highway queen. I try to avoid it as much as I can, but it'll do it, guys. It's got no problem doing it. Just as long as you do it within reason. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to get on the highway going 65, 70 for an hour and a half on it. But, short stints, I think it's got no problem with it, man. But yeah, like I say, my favorite thing of all on the bikes, I'll point them out, is the headlight replacement, which was $55. The seat concept seats, I forgot how much that costs. But if you have a KTM 500, get you a good seat, especially if you want to ride all day. And use it as a dual sport, And the Tuss rack, I was nervous about how you had to cut that underneath there. But it just lined it up. I didn't take any of the plastics off, guys. I just lined it up and then slid it through those little holes I cut, and it bolted right up. It was perfect cut first time. And the Acerbis gas tank just gives me a 3.9. It's almost 4 gallons, And I also have a gas bladder that I sometimes will have on me as well. So, it just takes peace of mind out of that. So I think those are really my favorite mods. I mean, obviously having folding mirrors are really, really, really nice, and being able to have that's another thing. GPS. Forever I used my phone, and don't get me wrong, the phone is it's great. I love it. But what I don't like about it is sitting out here in the sun or riding in the sun all day. Sometimes your phone may overheat. And, when you're trying to get somewhere, you don't know where you are. You're trying to get somewhere because you're a little bit pressed for time because you might be running behind schedule. Those inconveniences really suck. So another thing is I have a Garmin InReach. So, these two devices connect. I can text from that Garmin Zumo XT. So it's really nice being able to pair the InReach to the Garmin GPS. But like I say, no mods, man. And I just recently rode a Honda 450 L that was uncorked, that had the mods done to make it run right. And I rode a Honda 650 XR, the liquid cooled, the Baja, multi-Baja champion. I believe my buddy told me 11 time, which is very impressive. You guys know that. And yeah, I'm still impressed with this bike. I'm very grateful to have an opportunity to have ridden those other bikes, but I think having such a light bike like this, that's what I'm looking for, you know. And it was nice to be able to buy into this bike knowing that I don't have to buy supporting mods to get it to run right. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of talk about KTM reliability, blah, 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 but I've had this thing in a lot of remote locations, guys, by myself, and it's never once gave me any hiccups. It's never once not started. You know what I'm saying? It's been dead balls reliable. And like I said, that's doing some road miles and a lot of dual sporting miles, you know. So I've definitely dropped the bike several times. That's one thing I love about a dual sport, man. Like I said, I'm not going to rant here because I know a lot of guys still love adventure bikes. Look, I have an adventure bike. I have a big boy bike, but there's just something to be said for these lighter weight bikes. And I think, you know, I'm not as in tune to YouTube as I was maybe 6 months, a year ago. But, you know, just from talking to friends, it seems like people are starting to catch on and say, okay, unless I have the real skill, and even then, you need to be ready to fall. You need to be ready to crash. You need to be ready to tear up your plastics or potentially hurt yourself or hurt the bike. I mean, that's another thing that's a huge draw to me for dual sports is you drop this, the parts are a fraction of the price that it would be on a big adventure bike most of the time. Yeah, sure, you give up some highway capability, but I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Most people that I know that like dual sporting, they don't like to do a lot of highway miles. Me personally, I'm content nowadays going 60, 65. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll get on the interstate and we can do 80. I got no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? My first bike was an R1, guys. I got no problem with speed. But, you know, if I'm going to tell people I'm dual sporting, look, man, I'm just trying to hit the dirt. And when I get on the road, I'm just looking to chill. So that's why I feel like these lighter weight dual sports, man, that's where it's at, you know. Sure, if you can tour a little bit, great. You know, I also know that if for some people, you can only have one bike. So I know that there's exceptions to that. But, you know, if you could fit a dual sport in, you know, I don't think you'll be disappointed. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, guys, I've had it for a little over a year. I mean, it's ridden in Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, South Dakota, California. So that's like 7 states, guys. Like I said, it has not skipped a beat, and I haven't been gentle on this thing. I mean, as far as maintenance, I've replaced the fuel filter. I took the tank off, cleaned the tank out, just because as time goes on, you know, you can expect small bits of debris to be in there. So I did that, and I changed the spark plug. You know, valves are still in spec, man. So, yeah, it's been an awesome, reliable bike. So can't complain. But, you know, I'll say this again. If you don't want to spend money on a bike like this, you don't have to. From a guy that's had a smaller CC dual sport, look, man, they're just fine. You know, nowadays, a lot of them have the same performance as, like, let's say an older Yamaha WR 250R. You know what I mean? It may not be as light, but they're now able to, you know, keep up and do 65, you know, comfortably. I feel like relatively comfortably all day. I mean, I feel like, was it Dork on the road? I think he's really starting to prove that. You know, he's a heavier guy already, and he's on a smaller CC bike, and he's having a blast. So, you know, as much as I like my KTM, I love my KTM, and I would have no intentions of getting rid of it. If I couldn't get this bike, I wouldn't be upset about it, and I would have went to the Rally 300 or something, you know, for dual sport. But anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I always appreciate all my subscribers, man. Thanks for watching. Go out there, live your life, ride your bike, guys. Take care. But real quick, okay, so I want to talk about when I got a chance to ride each of those bikes. So first bike I rode was the 450 L. Like I said, it was uncorked. For me, I like the seat height of this bike. I like taller bikes. I'm not one to, I don't need a flat foot. I don't flat foot this, and I'm perfectly content with that. Even from my GS, I usually will set the preload to max, and it'll be a stiff ride. But I enjoy being able to, it feels like it handles a lot better on the street when I have it, the suspension pretty stiff like that. So anyway, back to the 450L. The moment I got on the bike, it felt heavier. I know that it is a quality dual sport, and I know that it's shoot injection or something like that in the swing arm, and you know, I know longevity of the bike is there, but comparing this to my 2023 KTM 500, this just feels so much lighter. You know, feels so much more nimble, flickable, whatever word you want to use. It has that, man, and I really like that. When I hear people say, I take my 450L or RL on a single track, I'm like, dude, good for you, because that is a much heavier bike than this, hands down. So I know a lot of people want to compare the two, and I like the ease of maintenance when it comes to the KTM 500. You know, it's easy to get to everything, man. You know, the filter, you just pop that side panel off, take it out, put it back in, boom, you're good. You know, it's just, everything is set up for serviceability, and I appreciate that. Like I said, I've had this bike for over a year, and I've had it in 7 different states. And you're talking to was, when I did all those rides, a 300-pound rider. So, you know, for the bike to be able to handle all that, and, you know, here I am in the mountains again, you know what I mean? So, just speaks for itself, man. I'm not saying that people hadn't had problems with their KTM, but guys, you got to get over that. You know what I'm saying? Look, if you don't want to spend the money, just say you don't want to spend the money. That's perfectly fine. I understand. But just say, you know, it's unreliable, that's why I won't get it. You need to stop that. Because I think at this point, I think KTM has proven themselves enough. So, and what I like about it is, you know, they believe in the culture. You know, they get these, you know, retired professional riders to help, you know, develop the bikes, man. And I think that's what's made them so good and so entertaining for us novice riders or amateur riders. And even some of these guys are really good. Like I was, you know, I stayed down by that lake last night, but on my way down my mountain yesterday, I ran into some guys, and dude, they're booking it. Anyway, if you're interested in the bike and you have the coin, hey man, go and get this. Is a great bike. You know, I'm sure that the 2024s are even better. This is a 2023. But it's a great bike, man. Things are cheap for them. Like I said, the headlight, $55 for LED. And, you know, it's hard to beat, man. The mini tower, I think that was under $200. It's hard to beat, you know. My folding mirrors, they were under 40, around 40, something like that. I felt like the gas tank wasn't that expensive either. The seat, I felt like that was reasonable. Everything with this bike is reasonable. Sure, it does add up, but I know how much some of this stuff costs because I've, you know, had a Africa Twin. You know, I have a BMW 1250 GS Adventure. You know, I have these expensive, you know, more expensive bikes or bigger bikes, and the stuff is just more expensive for it, man. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Live your life, ride your bike. Take care.